All right. We are back with one of our candidate forums. We are here with Orion Breen. Orion, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Cory?
Good, good. Hey, I appreciate you taking the time to do this with us. I just want to take 15 minutes or so and go through 4 or 5 questions and let the voters know a little bit more about you. So starting right off at the top, there's been some redistricting. So what district are you running for and where does that cover? Just kind of I don't need street names, but approximately.
Yeah, I'm District 98. This is my first time running. This is redistricted. It includes all of Pownal and Durham and a slice of Lisbon, Topsham, and Bowdoin. So kind of
Okay,
southern Bowdoin and western Topsham, and a little corner of Lisbon Falls on the east side.
awesome. Awesome. In full disclosure, I always like to tell people that you and I do go back. We know each other. We've known each other for several
Yeah,
years
I
now.
met you at like the Maine State Chamber of Commerce Leadership Summit up on the mountain right before the pandemic hit, I think.
Yeah, it was that year right before the pandemic had hit, 2 months later, and yeah, and we've been in touch ever since. So, all right, question number two, real simple. Just tell us a little bit about your background and why you're running for office.
Yeah, I mean, one of the first questions I get is Orion, huh? So I have hippie parents, and I was
Yeah.
born at home, and my dad went outside and looked up at the stars, and there was the constellation Orion. So I feel like I got out pretty easy. I have a brother, Yellow Light, who was born at the yellow light of dawn after it rained for 9 days straight. Not at a yellow light on the way to the hospital, like some rumors are. So I'll get that out of the way. Orion Breen.
Nice.
And so I grew up in central Maine, and my friends, rural community, pretty conservative, and my friends listened to country music and watch NASCAR. And my hippie parents, they listened to Buffalo Springfield, so that
Mhm.
was pretty close music wise. And went to Nokomis Regional High in Newport, Maine, and went off to Los Angeles, California for film school.
Nice.
And I got to watch movies for college. That was pretty sweet. But Maine, you have Captain James T. Kirk and the Starship Enterprise. And I tell people Maine is like my Starship Enterprise. Captain Kirk, it travels the galaxy and meets green skinned women and exotic planets, but he always comes back to the Enterprise, which is his true love.
There
So
it is.
I've traveled across the country and lived in various places, but I'm so excited to be back in Maine. I've lived in uh, Bangor, Maine, and I helped found the Buy Local Bangor campaign there, inspired by
Nice.
Portland's. I've lived in Noblesboro, Damascotta area. I've lived in Portland. I was in AmeriCorps Vista for a couple years, and that's like a domestic Peace Corps. So instead
Yeah.
of traveling to another country to do community building, you do community building right here in America, in Maine. And that was a great experience. And I've lived in Brunswick, Pownal, Durham area for the past 10 plus years.
Nice. Nice. Why are you running?
Well, during the pandemic, we got to zoom in and watch these different legislative meetings, and it got me excited that there sometimes the conversation didn't have the conversation that I thought it should have. And if you want that voice and perspective in the legislature, then you realize at some point that you have to be the one who brings it. And I testified in favor of uh, just as a citizen, in favor of funding for weatherization, save money, save energy during the winter by weatherizing your home, and testified on bringing local local food from local farmers into our schools, and on various things. I'm also on the board of the Maine Volunteer Foundation. Um, and so there, I helped develop a service fellows program with them that is similar to AmeriCorps, but it's like a Maine focused AmeriCorps. AmeriCorps often they focus on bigger nonprofits and bigger towns. You'll see them different programs in the Portland area, but we really wanted to focus this on rural Maine and some of the smaller programs, helping, you could be focused on a variety of things like helping seniors stay in their homes, in their communities, recovering from the pandemic economically wise, a wide variety of topics, but really focused on rural and smaller Maine communities.
Orion, I love that. I love, we're very community focused as a chamber, and trying to find out the things that are affecting, the entire community, and ways that we can help solve them. So all of that really rings true with me. Question number 3, what are the 3 top issues affecting Mainers right now that you look forward to working on if elected?
Well, I really believe in listening to people and believing what they tell you. So
Love that.
I'm involved in the Portland Regional Chamber of Commerce. I'm on the board. I know you hear the same things in the in Brunswick, Bath communities. What do the businesses need? Maine State Chamber of Commerce just came out with a Making Maine Work report.
Yep.
And so what do they say they need? They need workers, right? We need entry level, we need professional, we need highly skilled workers, all kinds of workers. We need affordable housing. We need affordable health care. These are things that we've been talking about for a while that we need, but now, these are things that they'll help families, they'll help businesses, they'll help the economy, and we need to invest in them. And we have made some progress on them. In the last session, they passed a bill that touched upon housing and being able to build ADUs, or accessory dwelling units, or some people call them in-law apartments, on your land. And it's still, it's not a government takeover in Augusta. Your local zoning laws still apply, and your local setbacks. You want to be able to, you don't want a bunch of projects that you're right up against your neighbor and it's disturbing their peace. But the way this is written, it's your land. If you match the zone requirements and setbacks and space for your neighbors, yeah, you can put an in-law apartment in. It's going to help seniors hopefully stay in their communities. That's an exciting thing. And it also has money for local municipalities to look at their zoning and re-up them. Talking about affordable housing, huge issue. Businesses care about this because if people can't afford to live in these communities, we don't have workers. We need workers, right?
Absolutely. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. No, go ahead.
So talking about support from money to go towards municipalities to look at their zoning, every community can have what you'd call a growth zone. And this isn't something scary. I was involved in the Maine Council of Aging, and we talked about age-friendly communities. And the things that seniors look for in a community that makes it age-friendly are the same things that young parents and people of all ages look for. We want to preserve the rural parts of the community and the farmland and the great hunting land, but there should be one little part of your town, even if it's one street, where you can have some denser multifamily unit housing that's walkable, that you can walk and get some food, that you can walk and go to local business, you can walk and go to the library or the school. Like having these little downtowns that really provide character and make an attractive place for both seniors and families to live. That's just going to improve the quality of life for everybody. And if we can support more of that smart strategic thinking, because Cory, the cat's out of the bag. People are moving to Maine. My parents, they moved to Maine years ago, and kind of the back to the land movement with the hippies, right? And they were just a few decades ahead of their time. Now everybody's moving to Maine. We've seen in the pandemic, people want to get out of the city. They love our way of life. We're, another thing, talk about, we're bringing in more broadband so people can do remote work. So the big challenge is going to be you know, we talked for years about, oh, we have a brain drain and people are leaving the state. We have the oldest state in the country. And so if people retire, how are we going to support the people who are retired? Well, now people are starting to actually come to Maine, and that's great, but we need to have the housing and infrastructure to support them and preserve the character and the traditions we have here while inviting these new people here. So how we welcome new people into our community and how we build our infrastructure out to support that and preserve what makes Maine great. That's going to be the big challenge in the next few years and decades. And I'm excited to be a part of those conversations and really listen to the community of how the solutions, you know, how we're going to do this, because I don't have all the answers, but I think we have the answers. And we have a lot of these answers already, like I said, in the Making Maine Work report that surveyed hundreds of businesses, asking them, you know, what are the challenges they're facing? And we have a 10-year economic development plan that was bipartisan, that was put together. We have these commissions looking at housing that's bipartisan, businesses, nonprofits, community leaders, regular citizens, all providing input. And so it just takes listening and collaboration, and Maine has a track record of working on these things in a bipartisan fashion. And I think I can help with my background, both with hippie parents and understanding the progressive view, as well as my experience on the Regional Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors and understanding businesses and always being a small business advocate.
I love it. I mean, when we met a few years ago, I think we had this exact conversation. And so, you know, I feel that way. Our chamber's working on some things in that same vein. I mean, the crucial issue is workforce development has never had to look at societal issues. We've always had more people than we've had jobs, and now we've got more jobs than we've got people. And so we need to look at how can we make employees out of this batch of unemployed people, and you need to look at that batch of unemployed people and see what their barriers are. And sometimes it's housing, sometimes it's transportation, sometimes it's childcare. These are all the things that workforce development is just beginning to grapple with and get their minds around. But really, it's an entire community, it's an entire state issue if we're being frank. So that paired with the in-migration is going to be how we solve some of these things. But you're right, we need to do it in a responsible way. But the other part of that is we also need to do it. You know, we can't just say, hey, we want all these things, but we're also reluctant to making any change. And it's like, we're gonna have to change and we're gonna have to adapt. So if we can first all accept that, then let's figure out, you know, how we do it responsibly. Just
Well, you
two
bring
more.
up
Oh, go ahead.
you bring up childcare, right?
Yeah.
And so it's pretty much a no-brainer. We need people to work,
Mhm.
and people can't work though if they don't have childcare or elder care. It's pretty
That's it.
simple math right there. If your work gets off at 5 and your kid gets off the bus at 3:30, that's a tremendous challenge for so many families,
Yeah.
employees, and it becomes a challenge for businesses, and businesses are recognizing that. There's a model called the community schools model, and it's really exciting because basically acknowledging that our schools are more just reading, writing, and arithmetic. Like, our schools are community centers. You have
Mhm.
school-based nurses in our schools, and so they're providing healthcare. They provide meals to people. They are like a food pantry on the front lines of feeding kids and families. They're centers for sports and entertainment and community, and we should recognize that. And yeah, we need after-school programs, and you know, after 5 o'clock in the evening, schools can be used for adult education and workforce development and skills development. Um, you know, these things take investment, but these investments are worthwhile because these investments are going to build our economy and build our businesses, and they're going to have a return on investment. They're going to improve the quality of life here, and they're going to pay for themselves in the long run.
Ugh. It's a great conversation. I would love to have it more, but we do got to wrap it up. So I just got two more questions for you. If voters could only know two things about you before they fill out their ballot, what would those two things be?
My start off with I'm here to listen. I know I don't have all the answers. I think we need to bring everybody to the table. Even people who don't like a bill, they have ideas on how to make it better, because, you know, there's unintended negative consequences to bills that even have the best intentions. So we need to bring people to the table. We can't have name calling. I had somebody message me the other day, you know, knocking on doors, you talk to people. I don't want to knock on doors and just people who I agree with. The best conversations I've had are people who we disagree on a variety of issues, but finding the common ground, that's what's really exciting. And that's a great conversation to me. So somebody messaged me recently, and they start off their message saying, you know, I'm a Trumpster and you can call me deplorable if you want to. And to me, I mean, I hate that kind of divisive political rhetoric of name calling. You know, no one should be called deplorable. You know, we're all Mainers.
Yeah.
We can disagree. You know, and this person laid out a number of issues, and I might not vote the way they would like on all those issues, but we had a great conversation because, you know, I said to them, I have friends and family who agree with you on certain of these things, and I respect them, and no one should, you know, shame somebody because they disagree. Or no, we should be able to have thoughtful conversations on topics people are passionate about without people walking away feeling attacked, you know. And she ended her message, basically her first message to me saying, like, you know, thank you if you bothered to respond. You know, she wasn't even expecting me to respond. So, you know, we had some back and forth, and this person who started off saying I'm a Trumpster and you can call me deplorable, she ended up saying, I'm going to vote for you.
That's
And it's not because we agreed on everything. It's because I treated her with respect and I listened to her. And I think that's what we need. And I think we have a tradition of that in Maine. And I want to keep that going and keep that in sight. You know, everybody is part of the solution here.
Love it. Love it. Anything else you want to add that we didn't cover?
I mean, we talked about, you know, the big issues: housing, workforce development, childcare, education. I mean, so I'll say one more thing about housing, right?
Yeah.
Of what I'm talking about here. The housing bill that passed, it wasn't perfect.
Yep.
But what was really exciting to me, and it's, you know, there's going to be a lot of work that needs to be done. You know, it wasn't the be all and end all. We're going to have to keep working and on stuff and making it better. But what was exciting about it, you had Maine People's Alliance progressive group supported it. Maine Conservation Voters Environmental Group supported it. Maine State Chamber of Commerce business group supported it. You know, that's how we're going to get things done in Maine, is building these coalitions of people from all walks of life saying, yeah, we need to do something about housing. And we can all agree on that, and we can work together and craft something and build upon that. So that's what I'm excited is, you know, if you don't have strange bedfellows, you're not going to build something that lasts. It can't be something that's partisan or winner take all. It really needs to be everybody rowing in the same direction here.
You can't let perfect be the enemy of good is what it comes down to. Very last question. The best way for people to connect with you or to find out more information about what you're all about.
Yeah, I mean, people can call or text me 207-619-4872. They can email me orionbreen@yahoo.com. They can go to orion.maincandidate.com. And I'm also on Facebook, Orion Breen for me. So I'm here. Google me, reach out, any social media platform. I will respond. You know, I'm out knocking on doors, so I might not respond the second you message me, but I'll try to respond as soon as I can.
That's good enough. And if you didn't catch those, we will put them in the when we post this video, we will put that in the description, so you'll have all of those ways to connect with Orion. Orion, thank you, sir. Good to see you.
Thank you so much, Cory. Keep up the good work.
Appreciate it.